Happy Wednesday, everyone. This is the 28th episode of Punchlines Live here at the South Point Casino. I'm Alex White. I'm filling in for Frank Nicotero today. If you're waiting for Frank, though, stick around. We're going to have him on in 10 minutes. We have a packed show for you. We've got a lot to recap from yesterday and a lot to look forward for the week. Let's do a quick intro. Next to me, the Wizard of Odds, the man who taught me all that I know about sports and professional sports bettor, Kenny White, is with us for the full hour. We've also got Ryan McCormick behind the glass producing today, and behind the scenes, you can't see them. We have Ann, Devin, and Sean. Appreciate everything they do for us. So we need to recap everything on the hardwood from yesterday. We have Frank coming in, of course. We're going to talk college football, especially futures, see if there's any value still out there. Then on the second half of the show, we have Katie Mox coming in from CBS Sports HQ. We're going to talk all NFL with her. And then the last 15 minutes, of course, we're going to talk our favorite plays for the night. So let's get right into it. Let's start off from the moment we left the studio yesterday. And that was our excellent lunch choice. You want to take it from here?
Yeah, Alex, Invention. I'm trying to think of the name. No, what is it called? I don't even know the name of the restaurant anymore.
The sushi spot in South Point. Can anybody help us out?
We both drew a blank on the name of it. I think it's Zenshin. It's close. Best sushi in town, though, I'll tell you that. I'm bad. I don't remember my own name. That's the hard part about this job, and I write everything down. You know that because there's so many different sports on, so many different names, and people. I'm on CBS. We got Katie Mox coming on, one of my colleagues today. She's great. She does amazing betting stuff. She does a lot of prop bets, and I do all this work with CBS. And everyone knows the names of the players, the pronunciations. I don't know, and I don't really care. I have a rating on every player, and that's all I care about. It's a numbers game for me. I want to get the numbers right. Sorry, I don't get the names right, but the sushi place here is the best in town.
It is Zenshin.
It's funny. All right.
It is Zenshin.
Zenshin. So I was, right there.
Right when we walked out, you said, let's go to Zenshin. And
oh, yeah.
So happy hour. We thought we might miss it, but no, because it's almost the entire evening. There's only 2 hours where it's not. It's like 12 through 6, I believe, and 8 to close. Great sushi, great calamari. Glad that you
great. Yeah, well, we used to shoot the line makers here. Vinny Miller was on the show. Richie Baccelleri, Jimmy Vaccaro was here. We did that show for a couple of years here at South Point, and then after every show, we would go to Zenshin for sushi. So that's how I know about it. Nice
little tradition. Okay, well, let's go to some basketball recap because a couple games we had mentioned on the show yesterday. Some crazy things happened. So, Ryan, did you see this? There was a big fight in the Warriors-Timberwolves game. So we had Klay Thompson and Jaden McDaniels fighting on the court here. So our guy who wears number 27, we talked about Rudy Gobert yesterday on the show, he jumps in to pull them apart, and then Draymond Green jumps in and puts the chokehold on Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert was just trying to break the fight up. He wasn't fighting.
Correct.
There was no reason for Draymond Green to come in.
This is 2 minutes into the game.
Hold. Come on.
2 minutes into the game. The adrenaline isn't even there yet. Like, what is going on? What went through Draymond's mind?
Yeah, we've got a clip right there. It is 0-0 at that time.
What?
Nobody
How do you start
yet.
A game like this?
Yeah, well, I guess Draymond's getting ready for his pro wrestling career, WWE.
Yeah,
That's next for him.
Rudy said after the fact that Draymond was just looking for an excuse to not play because he doesn't like to play when Steph's not in the lineup. So I don't know how true that is and how much of a back and forth it is between those players, but
Rudy should have said he doesn't like to play because I'm on the court and defensively I'll shut him down.
Yeah.
Right. That's where I thought you were going with that. Well, so you looked into it a little bit more because this is the in-season tournament going on. They got a loss, so they could lose out on some money.
Yeah, I finally found out the money. I told you yesterday that I handicapped the NBA this year for this sole reason, this tournament. And I love it. It's $500,000 to the winning team. Runner-up gets $200,000. Teams that are in the semifinals that play here in Las Vegas, Final Fours here in Vegas, $100,000 to the third place team and $50,000 for fourth place. But these guys are playing for $500,000. That's really a lot of incentive.
$500,000 per team?
Per player.
Per player on the winning
Every
team.
player on that team gets $500,000. So that's a lot to play for.
Well, your Lakers, they rolled last night, 134-107 against Memphis. Still feeling good about them winning this?
I feel great about it. They're in really good shape. They get into the knockout round. LeBron James and Davis are a great 1-2 punch. I just got a feeling these guys would love to do anything more than anything is win this tournament. they get to the Final Four, everyone from LA is going to drive up here, just like they do for the Summer League.
Right.
You go to an NBA Summer League game and the Lakers are playing, it's a packed house, and they're actually better fans here than they are in LA. They show up early and they actually stay late.
And it's a good sign because they got that win. LeBron played 23 minutes. He had 16 points and 9 rebounds. So it's a good sign when the other guys are stepping up. D'Angelo Russell had 24 points. And then, usually when the Lakers are winning, that means AD had a good game. He had 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 blocked shots in that game.
AD should be in the prime of his career. He really should be putting up 25 and 15 every night. I think it's just, he's kind of pacing himself a little bit, but he's still one of the top 10 basketball players in the NBA.
Can we slow the Lakers train right now? I get they're 5-0 at home, but this win was against the Grizzlies without Ja Morant. Like, this isn't anything to write home about.
No reason to. No, that was not a huge win. You're right, because Memphis has several players out for even they have no Adams.
Yeah.
That was a 2.5 point drop off to begin the year. So not a very good Memphis team, and they haven't played well. But I just think the Lakers are in a good situation in this tournament. I think they will try as hard as anybody, not for the money, but for the bragging rights.
Who was their first win against? Phoenix?
Phoenix.
So they do have a win over Phoenix in this as well.
Phoenix had at least Booker out or Beal. One of the two are probably out. It was probably Booker.
Both of them.
That was out that game. But that was a good win for them because it puts Phoenix behind them a little bit as well.
All right. Well, I like Ryan keeping us honest up here. So, and then the Clippers, because I brought up the Clippers yesterday and about them taking some time to work together. They hung in that game the whole game. I watched that against the Nuggets, but you just can't count Jokic out, can you?
You can't. He's the best player in the NBA. We're gonna look back at 20 years from now and say, wow, what a career that guy had. And we're gonna look, and he's probably gonna have 4 or 5 MVPs and 2 or 3 NBA championships. That's how good he is. They'll be playing for an NBA championship this year, hopefully.
That's what makes it so tough. Looking at futures, to even look at the Western Conference makes it really tough to even think anybody can take that team down.
Really, he's just such a great player. He does so many things on the court. It's funny, a good friend of mine, Tim Doyle, who does a lot of the CBS stuff for me, when I ran into him at the Super Bowl last year, we were talking about the Denver team. He said there's no way they can win it. They don't play defense. And I thought, well, he's right. They don't play defense. They're not a really good defense team. But when the playoffs started, they stepped their defense up, and they played as good a defense as anybody in the NBA. But Jokic does so many things by his facilitating the basketball, finding the wide open guy, and then scoring 25 and 15 rebounds a game. He's the best player in the NBA.
So I might throw you off a little bit here. I want to know if you have your college basketball ratings up, because I got very focused on football yesterday. I didn't even bring up college basketball, and we didn't even talk about the fact that we had Kentucky at Kansas, Duke at Michigan State, and Marquette and Illinois yesterday. So I want to see where you kind of stand with those teams. Kentucky almost had that game. I don't know if anybody else was watching that one as well, but Kansas, ultimately, they came out, they won it. That Hunter Dickinson
yep.
transferred from Michigan. He had 27 points and 21 rebounds for them in that win.
It was a great pickup for Kansas to get a guy like Dickinson and his talent. Michigan, their talent level has been down a little bit the last couple of years, so for him it was a great move. I have Kansas, the third best team in college basketball right now, at Purdue and Houston, tied for number 1, identical rating at 127.7, which my average rating is a 100, so they're 27.7 points better than the average college team. Kansas third. I have Kentucky number 16. John Calipari kind of did a rebuilding job. He had 4 or 5 players leave through the transfer portal this year, and he's kind of trying to rebuild this basketball team.
You might want to go watch those highlights and see what you think about Kentucky, because they hung in there. I think they may move up on your ratings a little bit after that one. But mentioning Purdue, so they do have the best player in college basketball right now. So that helps with their rating,
Zach
right?
Edey.
And it's Zach Edey.
Zach Edey, he was the player of the year last year.
Yep.
The way Hunter Dickinson played last night, he's going to give it, if he continues to play that way, he's going to give Edey a run for his money for player of the year.
All right, Frank is patiently waiting, but really quick, because, this is his show. Can we show what happened on this day? So it is November 15th. On this day, 1956, Elvis Presley makes his movie debut. It was Love Me Tender. He went on to star in 31 films after that. I'm really stretching here, but anytime I have an opportunity to bring up Elvis Presley, I'm going to, because he is a huge staple in Las Vegas. After those movies, he went on to have a residency here at the International Hotel, which is now known as the Westgate Hotel. And there was a time in between that it was the Hilton, right?
Yeah, it was the Hilton after the International.
Right.
Yep.
It was in between those two.
International, Hilton, and then Westgate.
Westgate. Now it is the Westgate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still is.
Very good. Okay, so when you think of Elvis, you think of Vegas, you think of Memphis. Let's bring in Frank Nicotero. He is in New Orleans joining us.
What's up, guys? This is so wild. I'm a guest on a show that I host. This is so wild. And you know what? You're talking about Elvis. My mom is a huge Elvis fan. I'm a huge Elvis fan. And it's so funny because I'm here in New Orleans. This is Lafayette Park, Lafayette Square right behind me. And the movie King Creole, which is Elvis's best movie, black and white, the bad guy's Walter Matthau. And it has one of the greatest movie openings, which is right in the French Quarter.
Oh, we lost Frank.
Crawfish, crawfish. That's the opening of King Creole. So I was just singing that last night on Bourbon Street. So funny you should bring up Elvis.
It's funny. I always remember all the Elvis movies where he's on the riverboat gambling.
You guys are doing great. I watched the show yesterday. Unbelievable. Hope you guys are having fun. But yeah, I'm here in New Orleans filming this game show that I host called Wait What Happened, which airs on the very local app, which is owned by Hearst Media. So it's a lot of funny little news stories. And I ask people questions about the news stories on the street here, and they can win up to like $200. So we're dodging raindrops here. So New Orleans is a little overcast and chilly, but we're having a blast.
Yeah, Ann wanted me to point out that your hair's not looking as flush as when you're in studio. Is the humidity getting to you?
No, it's a little humidity. It's a little rain. I did shower today, and even though it's not one of my normal days, it's a Tuesday, right? Or is today Wednesday?
Today's
I'm really at a loss for this. It is Wednesday, so I was due for shower day. But yeah, so, oh, look, and you can see the crew behind me coming across the street, wheeling out the equipment to shoot we have 2 more interviews to do today. I think they're behind me coming across. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I was on the wrong angle. But anyway, we're here in New Orleans, but I'm back Friday. We're going to talk Formula One racing. And yeah, there's the crew. So we've been interviewing people here today, right here in Lafayette Park.
Nice.
I love it. Wait, what happened?
Wait, what? Exactly. Wait, what? And if you look at the picture of me online, it's this. Wait, what happened? And I did this pose once, and they went, "That's the picture we want." So yeah, we're gonna do a couple more here, and then I'll be back Friday. But are we doing do you guys do your power rankings for colleges yet?
Not yet. So I haven't really told him. I asked Frank, since he travels a lot, he's been to a lot of cities. Can you please give me your power ratings for your top 5 cities in America? So can you reveal those to us?
Well, I believe so. So, I mean, if we're talking major cities, I think Ryan will help me out in here. I believe I went Chicago number 5. I think I went New Orleans or Los Angeles number 4. Okay, there it is. 5 is, Chicago. 4, what's 4? What is
4 is Los Angeles. 3 is New Orleans.
Oh, I didn't recognize all the snow.
Yeah,
there
with
you
the
go.
mountain in the background.
Okay. Well, it's hard to say. And then New Orleans.
Yep.
And then Vegas. Of course, number 1. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm a kid born and raised in Pittsburgh. I did Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Of course I do it. The home of the Steelers, who are going to beat the Cleveland Browns with P.J. Walker this weekend. So those were my major cities, but I know you're doing your college.
He's the starter this weekend.
Is he playing?
Yep.
Oh, DTR, the UCLA boy. Okay. But you also, Alex, were wondering about my college cities, right?
Yes, please. Would love to know those.
Okay. Now, I did this list last night, very late at night, so Ryan, you might have to help me with the graphic on this. But I remember number 5. All right, so there's reasons. These are big 5 college cities. Champaign, Illinois, home of University of Illinois, but also where I shot the first movie. I had a leading role, well, one of the leading roles. It's a movie called Act Your Age, and it's on Amazon, and it's good. Mm-hmm. But I play I always have a flask on me. I'm the party guy drinking. My name is Vaughn, I believe. But anyway, Champaign, Illinois, we were there. Unbelievable atmosphere, so go Illini. All right, so that's my number 5 college city. Number 4 college city, Ryan, hit it. Columbus, Ohio. Come on, the Horseshoe. Went to a game there, changed my life. Unbelievable experience. But Columbus, Ohio, the Columbus Funny Bone was like the hottest comedy club in the country. I know you don't believe me. I worked with Bill Engvall there, Ron White when they were coming up, and I was just an MC. So the Columbus Funny Bone, that's why Columbus gets the #2 ranking, and James Buster Douglas is from Columbus. And it's only a 3-hour drive from Pittsburgh, so I went with Columbus as #4. My #3 college sports city, Mountain. Oh, the Mountaineers. How about them ears? Morgantown, West Virginia, another short drive from Pittsburgh. It was about 90 minutes. Got trapped there after doing a show, and I had brought some buddies with me, and we were in this room they put me up because they put guest speakers in this room, and all of a sudden the snow starts coming down. And I look, and the woman comes in, and she's like, hey, you guys, this is a major snowstorm. We better get out of here. So we got in my car. That 90-minute drive back to Pittsburgh ended up taking about 5 or 6 hours. Had we stayed, we would have been there stranded for days in West Virginia. But Morgantown, they know how to do it right. So I love WVU. And then my next city, Lincoln, Nebraska. Okay, one of my first road gigs ever. I was playing the Lincoln Funny Bone, and it was the week, coincidentally, of the Nebraska-Oklahoma game. So everyone in my hotel was from out of town, were Oklahoma fans. But of course, I'm doing shows at the Funny Bone, and it's all, Nebraska fans. Oklahoma wins the game. So I have to act sad at the club. All the employees are sad. The audiences are sad. Then I go back to my hotel, and then I partied all night with the Oklahoma people from out of town. Now, my #1 college city. There's no college there. But it's a college. Oh, no, it wasn't Arizona State. Arizona State's close. But my #1 college city is Lake Havasu, Arizona. Because spring break in Lake Havasu was the best because all the colleges go there. All right? So there's a ton of colleges. Now, I shot a show there, 30 episodes called Pontoon Payday, where I was on a pontoon boat. We had drunken college kids on, and they could win like $500, which was basically food and beer for the whole week. So we were there for 30 days shooting in Lake Havasu. And we had colleges from all across the country. So that's why I call it the best college city in America, because everyone converges to Lake Havasu for spring break. So, and also, my grandparents were there when the town first started, when there was one stoplight in the late 70s. And my Uncle Gary still lives there. So those are my top 5 college city power rankings right there for you.
Any that you're super surprised about?
Those are good. Those are some good ones. Austin, Texas, I think, is one of the best college cities in America.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yep.
You know what? I've been there. I was doing warm-up, I think, on the X Factor, and I didn't go out as much as I should. I just went back to the hotel. I should have caught a little more of the atmosphere, so I never really experienced Austin the way I should. Damn it. That's a good one, though, Kenny.
Yeah,
good call.
you got Lake Havasu, and then 1A could be Mill Street, Tempe, Arizona. That is another great area for college.
Now, I'll tell you what, I'm glad you brought that up. So we were shooting Street Smart. So this is like 2001 show I hosted, right? And they brought in somebody all of a sudden's like, you got to get that guy. And I'm like, who's that guy? They're like, he's the star player for the Sun Devils. And it was Terrell Suggs, T-Sizzle, All-American, and of course goes on to play for the Ravens and is going to go to the Hall of Fame, wins a couple Super Bowls. And probably, if you're a Steeler fan, you hate him more than anybody. So when my Steeler fan friends would be like, oh, Terrell Suggs, I hate him. I'm like, no. He came on Street Smarts in Arizona, lit it up. He was hysterical. And what we used to do, the people we interviewed on the streets who were our favorite, we'd bring them back for Revenge Week, and we'd fly them into the studio, and they could win some money. And it was right before the NFL draft. So he signed a football to me, which I have, Terrell Suggs football. And I'm like, man, it'd be so cool if you would play for the Steelers. He's like, no. He's going to Baltimore. And I'm like, oh, you can't go to Baltimore. He ended up with the Ravens. So Terrell Suggs. But we met him right down there on, is it Mill Avenue?
Mill Avenue,
Street?
yeah.
Whatever
Mill
it is.
Avenue. Yeah.
Mill Avenue. Yeah, Mill Avenue down there. So that is, you know what? I didn't put that one on the list. I'm glad you brought that up, Kenny, because that is awesome.
Yeah, that's 1A. Yeah, most definitely.
Frank, you always have the coolest gigs.
You know, I'm lucky right now. Things are going well. I mean, I missed the Punchlines crew. It's fun to be here in New Orleans, but it's really, this is probably my 6th time to New Orleans. This is the worst weather I've ever experienced. So it's been rainy and chilly, and all I've really seen is my hotel room, which I don't mind, because I've done the New Orleans social thing before. So I'm good. I want to be fresh when I get back for Friday for the big F1 weekend. And there's some of the crew right there. There they are. We're ready. There's Hannah. Hannah's from Pittsburgh. She's from Pittsburgh. She's done every city with me. I know we pick up some locals. That's Pilgrim on audio and Rob, our camera guy. So, yeah, we got 2 more interviews, and then we're done. And then we do tomorrow, and then I fly back, and I'm there Friday.
So now that you know the news, DTR is getting the start for the Browns. You still feel good about the Steelers?
Well, what's the line? I know it was -4 Cleveland. Is it down to like 2.5?
2, -2 now.
2. I mean, look, you know me. I'm going to take the Steelers. I liked 4 points. I mean,
Frank, let me cut you off. It's even moved more now since DTR was named the starting quarterback. The game's now pick 'em.
The Steelers are a pick 'em on the road in Cleveland. Oh, is Bernie Kosar playing? Who's their quarterback now? My God, that's unbelievable. They're a pick 'em. That's unbelievable, man. Yeah, of course I'm taking the Steelers. I actually kind of like them going in because we're finding ways to win games. 6-3, outgained in every game, but they find a way. And here's the thing. And I saw something, they were talking about it on TV, that, Cleveland is now going to have to kind of play the ball we've been playing, where they have to manage the game, right? You got a young quarterback, not experienced. So they're going to be playing our game, which we invented and we're good at. And then he said it comes down to coaching. Who's going to have their young quarterback with not a lot of experience? Who's going to coach them better? And if you put Stefanski against Tomlin, I'm taking Tomlin every time. So I like the Steelers with the edge, and I can't believe it's a pick 'em. I love it. And I made that bet with Bill Sindelar on the show, whereas if the Browns won, I was going to have to wear a Johnny Manziel jersey. But if the Steelers win, he's going to have to wear a Steeler jersey when he does warm-up for the show, The Talk, next week sometime. So he wrote me today when the news broke. He wrote me his address. He goes, "Send the Steeler jersey here." So he's already expecting a lot. So I don't want to get cocky, but I don't know. Look, I feel good every Sunday about the Steelers, or Monday or Thursday, whenever the hell they're playing in the NFL anymore. But yeah, I feel good. But a pick 'em, oh boy, there's some parlay action there for me. Hell yeah.
It's also the lowest over/under of the week, 33.5.
What? Oh my God, that's Iowa-esque.
Yeah.
That's Iowa. Wow, 33. So you could do a tease, though tease is for suckers, right? Boy, that 33. This is Jeff Parles' territory here. Jeff will break it down better, but I don't know. Alex, what do you guys think on that over/under? Alex and Kenny, what do you think?
I think 33 is a low number in the NFL. I actually went under 37 when I heard the news that Watson may not play. So I do like it under. I would lean under 33.5, but I don't suggest going under. It's just too low.
It's just too low because you know me, as Chris Andrews, the sportsbook director, says, Frank, you're allowed to bet unders because I usually just bet overs. Uh-oh, commercial for FedEx. Get that out of there. But yeah, I don't know. There's no way I could take an under. Because if I ever lose an under, I just get upset. I'm like, you idiot. But I'll take the Steelers for sure.
You are allowed to bet unders. That is for sure.
That's what Chris Andrews said, Frank. Because I was in his office one day watching a game. I'm like, yeah, I was rooting for a touchdown. He goes, you're rooting for Kansas City? Yes, I'm rooting for points. He goes, you're allowed to bet unders.
Any funny stories you want to leave us with from your New Orleans trip?
You know what? I went to a Walgreens. Okay, I bring an Amazon Fire Stick with me. Okay, and I went and got an extension cord because I forgot it was too far to reach my Amazon Fire Stick, so I can watch all my I have my DirecTV stream, so I can see all my channels. And then I go back out, and there's a guy that works at the hotel. He stops me. I'm not making this up, you guys. I couldn't make this up. He goes, because you're the Street Smarts guy. I go, yeah. He goes, I follow you on Instagram. I said, oh, thanks, man. He goes, I go, what do you do? He goes, oh, I work here at the hotel. And I was about to say, well, I'm in town filming a show. He goes, I'm a contestant on your show tomorrow. He goes, and I watch Punchlines. I'm not making this up, Alex and Kenny. So this guy, Ryan, this guy, Rashad, who goes by Shoddy, S-H-A-A-D, Shoddy. He's
Shout
unbelievable. He works as a Shoddy. He's the best. Shoddy, he's going to see this. I'm going to send him the link. He is unbelievable. He was on the show today. I can't tell you what happened, but he's the best contestant we've had all week. And he's like, he knew. Look, I get recognized for Street Smart still, which I'm thankful about. But the fact that he goes, I follow you on Instagram and I've seen Punchlines. So Shoddy, because I told him he's a big Saints fan and he is a comedian. He started to do stand-up. I said, we're going to find him next time New Orleans is on national TV. We're getting Shoddy as a guest on the show. I promised him. So we gotta get him on. He's hysterical and he's born and raised in New Orleans. So yeah, so that was the funniest story so far, man. The fact that someone for the first time, write it down, Ryan, first time someone came up and knew me from Punchlines and not pharmacy customer number 2 from the Wishmaster but from Punchlines.
This
so
was
that made
last
my
night?
day and that made my week. Last night. And he was already scheduled to be on the
next
show.
year.
There we go.
Yes, from your lips to God's ears. But yeah, no, so New Orleans is cool, but I miss my warm studio right now. And I'm just glad Alex and Kenny are doing such a great job. And thank everybody for watching. And what are our subscribers up to? 616? What do we got?
637.
Oh my God. See, Kenny and Alex, you guys got some subscribers yesterday, because when I left, it was like in the teens or 20s. So keep going, keep rocking. And then tomorrow night, I'll probably watch the game on the plane. I'm going to hope that the Bengals beat up the Ravens a little so the division gets even tighter.
Very good. Hey,
No doubt.
Frank, you're the best. We appreciate your time.
Stay away from those voodoo shops.
Thank you, guys. This was fun. All right, keep kicking butt, guys. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Friday.
Okay, safe travels. We'll see you Friday. He is the best.
Got so many game shows. I mean, that he's hosted. I never even heard of some of these game shows, but I love the name of this one. What?
Yeah.
What happened? That's great.
What happened?
Love
So
it.
before we take a break, we're going to jump into college football.
Yeah.
Okay.
And futures. First, I want to check, though, his top 5 pro cities.
Yeah.
Any that you would throw in there? I know you said
Well-
Austin for college, but any for major cities?
San Francisco and San Diego are obviously two fun cities. He didn't. New York City, left New York
I
City.
know, he
That's there's so much to do there.
Good.
Miami is another great city
Never been
to go
Miami.
to. Yeah.
Nashville?
Nashville. I've never been to Nashville, so
Nashville's
Yeah,
very
never-
fun.
never
And
been there.
I actually really enjoyed Memphis.
Boston,
Boston, of course.
I've always wanted to go to Boston.
good city.
Yeah, definitely.
Lot of
get to
history.
Fenway. Yeah.
A lot of history there, and it's a fun city. A lot of fun there.
All right, well, let's dive into our college football future. So here at the South Point, what they did is they grouped the college football teams, right? So we have 3 groups, and then you can also bet the field. So I'm going to tell you what the current odds are and which teams are in it, and I'm going to see if you are interested in any of these. So the first grouping is Georgia, Penn State, Texas A&M, Washington, Oklahoma, and Wisconsin, 2-1. Next group is USC, Michigan, LSU, Clemson, Texas, and Utah, plus 190. Third group is Ohio State, Alabama, Florida State, Tennessee, Notre Dame, and Oregon, plus 160. Did you hear how my voice changed even when I got to that group? And then we have the field 100-1.
Yeah, the favorite at 160, the Ohio State, Oregon. I'm just going to name those two because, Alabama. You got Ohio State, Alabama, and Oregon. I have those teams 3 of the top 5. So plus $1.60, I think is a pretty good bet to have 3 teams that have a shot to win the national championship.
Well, plus Florida State.
Plus
Yeah, Florida State.
If
Yeah,
they-
Florida
if they
State's
are to
undefeated.
stay
I
undefeated,
don't know.
yeah.
I have Florida State ranked 10th in the country, and that's basically because they haven't lost this year.
Right.
But they're almost a touchdown below Georgia, Alabama, and the top teams in the country. But yeah, it's still a team that's got a shot to be in the Final Four. So it gives you that edge. So yeah, that group's the best group by far.
So we're going to have to go conference by conference. We'll probably have to do that tomorrow because I know we have Katie Mox on deck. But really quick, so the playoff standings came out again yesterday. There was only one big change, and that was Georgia moves to 1, Ohio State moves down to 2, Michigan stays at 3, Florida State at 4, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Bama. Do you agree with that move between those two, Georgia and Ohio State?
No, not really. I have them rated really close to each other. I don't think they should have taken a jump there. I think if anybody should have taken a jump, it was Michigan. They took the biggest jump in my poll. They're the number 1 team in the country now for me. 3 points better than Oregon and Ohio State. They've impressed me all year. They just haven't played a good schedule, but their size, the eye test was telling me every time I watched them, the eye test was saying this is the best team in the country. They're the best team in the trenches. They have great running backs. They got a quarterback that takes care of the ball and can score. They have an outstanding defense, but they hadn't played anybody. So that kept giving me this thing in the back of my mind is maybe they're not as good as, they look. I always trust my numbers more than the eye test. But that win at Penn State, they dominated Penn State, dominated the game. Really.
Yeah.
So, I think they're the best team in the country.
What about Washington being out of the playoff spot right now, the only undefeated team sitting there at the 5 spot? Now, Florida State barely escaped last week against Miami, but they're sitting pretty safely there in that 4 spot.
They're undefeated.
Yes.
They're a really good football team. But again, I have them right now. I have them tied, Washington and Florida State for
Okay.
9th best team in the country. Actually, But still, I think they're a touchdown less than Oregon and Ohio State. I think they're 10 points less than Michigan. I think Michigan would be 10 over either Washington or Florida State.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. This is Punchlines with Alex White and Kenny White. When we get back, we have Katie Mox joining us for all NFL stuff. Don't go anywhere. This is Punchlines.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grandview Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grandview Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grandview Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Punchlines live from the South Point Casino. I'm Alex White here with Kenny White, and we are going to bring in our next guest from CBS Sports HQ, host and sports betting analyst. We have Katie Mox joining us. Katie, thank you so much for your time. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. And I got to say, after watching that commercial in the break, I'm ready to go to South Point Casino. You got ice cream, you got bowling, you got movies, you got gambling. I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, hey, you'll be in Vegas soon enough, right? Here for the Super Bowl this year.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing you. And I'm so excited to be sitting with the White family yet again. I get to talk to your dad almost nightly or weekly. So it's really nice to see you again.
Now you guys are kind of on opposite sides. He'll be asking you questions, but I'm going to start it off. Katie, some big news today. Deshaun Watson out with the season-ending surgery. So last week's headlines was kind of like, we may have all 4 AFC North teams making it in the playoffs. What do you think this means for the Cleveland Browns moving forward this season?
God, well, first of all, one of the things, and I think I've talked about this with your dad, we were doing futures at the beginning of the season. The AFC North has really proven to be the division to beat. Everyone, except for the Steelers, yet they still somehow are second in the division and have a winning record, but that's neither here nor there at this point. The Browns have been a pretty fun, frisky team. It's been very up and down for Watson. His season is over after playing, just 6 games? At times, he looked to be in his old form. If you look at that game against the Ravens last week, he was absolutely amazing in the second half, but he opened up the game by throwing that pick 6. So it's kind of been a roller coaster for him. I do think that the Browns are going to regret not trading up for a better backup at the trade deadline, because now you've got PJ Walker and DTR, who I don't think are quarterbacks that can get this done for you. I mean, they could have got Josh Dobbs, the great Josh Dobbs, who's now killing it with the Vikings. I read in an interview that he actually thought he was going to be traded to the Browns. I'm sure he's probably happy that he wasn't. Even Jacoby Brissett could have been available, who of course was with the Browns previously. When I look at this, I think it's lucky for Pittsburgh. It's lucky for Pittsburgh in terms of the standings, because they are tied both at 6 and 3, or actually maybe now the Browns have advanced up from them. Well, no, because the Pittsburgh won as well. So they're both, 7 and 3 now. But then also for this week, I mean, we've seen this line move down to basically just a pick 'em. I do think that the Steelers defense is very opportunistic. They can certainly get pressure with TJ Watt. So whether it's PJ Walker or DTR, this is going to be an ugly matchup.
Yeah, Katie, I was really shocked that the line dropped from 4 to 2 when they said Deshaun Watson was out for the year, and everybody was figuring that Walker was going to start at quarterback. And the coaching staff, then they make a decision to start DTR, and now the line dropped to pick. I do have a little bit of a difference in a rating between those two guys as well, but my feeling is in that situation, I always give the benefit of the doubt to the coaches sometimes over my ratings because they're there every day with these guys. They may have seen some progress in DTR that we're not seeing or we're not aware of. If they think he's as good or better than Walker, I'm just surprised the line has dropped as far as it has. Are you surprised it's all the way down to pick now?
I am and I'm not. One, I didn't realize the DTR was the starter, so that is interesting that there's been additional line movement with that. And like you said, I do tend to agree more with the coaches in terms of they're around these guys every day. I just think that who's scoring in this game, right? We don't think Kenny Pickett's going to be scoring in this game, and then you've got these two formidable defenses. I would lean to the under, even though I'm sure it's quite low. Yeah, 33.5. Gross. I don't know that this game gets over 30 at this point. When you look at these quarterbacks and what these offenses are able to generate, and then you look at these really mean, I feel like we're going to see a lot of turnovers. We're going to see a lot of interceptions, which Kenny, as you know, is my favorite thing to bet. And probably the under here. I could not back either one of these teams against the spread.
It is really tough. Let's look at another matchup that we have AFC North, and that's our Thursday night game. We have the Bengals going to Baltimore. The Ravens are -4 right now, total 46. Do you like anything in this game?
Yeah, well, first of all, let's all just be excited that we have a good Thursday night matchup, right? It's been a long time since we've had a really good Thursday night matchup. Yeah, so shout out to Amazon. Thank you so much for Bengals and Ravens. We absolutely need it, especially after this Monday night game where Josh Allen, I don't know where he is at, but this is going to be a fun one for so many different reasons. Obviously, the AFC North right now is super tight. The Bengals actually out of playoff contention right now. I expect that they'll get back in, but it's a little bit interesting that way. Baltimore won the first matchup this season, 27-24 in week 2. But of course, that was with a banged up Joe Burrow. He has since recovered and seems to be all the way back. Both of these teams coming off losses. Baltimore yet again blew a lead late in the game, which seems to be something that they've struggled with for the last couple years. I do give the edge to Baltimore in terms of winning this game. Lamar Jackson has a great track record against the Bengals. He's 7-1 as a starter. Cincy, they're going to be without their starting defensive ends. Obviously, wide receiver T. Higgins still likely going to be out. And CJ Stroud just lit them up. I mean, this past defense was demolished by CJ Stroud. But since he has been winning the turnover battle all season long, they are tied for the lead in turnover differential at +10. And, last week they were able to generate 3 turnovers from the Texans. When the Texans had only committed 5 all season long. So I lean towards taking the points with Cincinnati. I just think it's too many. 4 is too many for a division rivalry. I can see this game closing closer to a field goal, that 3-point range. So I'll take the points with Cincy. I do think that Baltimore wins this game. And you got to take the under. I mean, unders are just hitting at an astronomical rate at this point. I was reading stats last night. NFL nighttime games, unders 25-7 this season. They've hit in 11 straight night games. They've been hitting it nearly 70% since the start of last year. So until further notice, even though these are 2 pretty good offenses and we've got some bang up on the defense, I'm still going to go under on this one. Lean Cincy, Ravens win, under. And then I got some week. I want to hear what your dad has to say about this.
Yeah, a couple injuries on Baltimore as well. Marlon Humphrey is now doubtful for the game. Ronnie Stanley has been ruled out at tackle, and Trent Simpson is out. So injuries both ways. This is interesting game. Such a big game for both teams, and I know you do great prop work. Have you looked at any of the props in this game? Have you bet any props yet?
Yeah, so I know I said that I like the under in this game, but I'm still going to take Joe Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He has thrown for at least 2 in each of his last 5 games, 3 scores in 2 of those 5. Now, of course, you have to give a lot of credit to the Ravens' pass defense. They have been stout all season long. I also think that Lamar Jackson is going to get over his rushing prop at 43.5 and get that up just 120. He's exceeded this number in 7 of 8 starts against Cincinnati, so he does very well against the Bengals. Again, this Bengals defense, without 2 best pass rushers, Sam Hubbard is going to be there, Trey Hendrickson. So I think a good rule of thumb, or at least a lot of rule of thumb that people are thinking right now is like, oh, he's going to not be under as much pressure. He's going to be throwing the ball more. But I'm actually not so sure. He's coming off of one of his worst passing games, just 13 completions against the Browns. So I still think there's going to be a lot of design runs for Lamar. So I am going to take him over his rushing yards at 43.5. And Kenny, I got to take him for an interception as well. And, Lamar has not had an interception in 3 of the last 4 games. But this Bengals team is just, they bring the pressure. They're opportunistic. In 5 games, they have picked off 8 different passes. So I do think when he is throwing, he is susceptible. So I'll get him for an interception, but I like him over his yards.
They did get CJ Stroud the other day, too. We're going to switch it a little bit. Let's talk about your 49ers. I know you're excited after that 3-game losing streak. Bye week, they get back on track. I have a question for you. Who do you think had a bigger impact in that game? Was it Trent Williams or Deebo Samuel?
It's Trent Williams. I mean, Trent Williams is the best left tackle in the NFL. As soon as he retires, he's going straight to Canton. I mean, his presence on the offensive line cannot be understated. And even when you look at this game, they consistently get attacked on the right side. And it's been like this for years. It's a new year, but it's the same story for the 49ers. Nobody gets past Trent Williams, and that right side is always weaker. Just having that protection and giving Purdy the time to make those passes was everything. So, one, Trent Williams coming back. Also, yes, Deebo had such a huge impact the offense, just in the amount of weapons that the 49ers have. You look at Christian McCaffrey, you look at Deebo Samuel, Kittle, Juszczyk, I mean, everybody, to the point where all of these guys are such Swiss Army knives that you don't know what they're going to do. You take a couple of those guys away, the 49ers become a little bit more predictable. So I do think that Deebo Samuel coming back was such a huge boost, just in this offense being able to do what it does. But when Trent Williams is gone, man, you feel it.
Yeah, Katie, I am so embarrassed because I told you last week, close your ears. Don't listen to this, because I was on Jacksonville last week. I cannot believe I was on Jacksonville now. That was fool's gold, kind of a fake winning streak. You could see the difference in the two teams. It wasn't even close. And my power ratings now reflect that. I've got the 49ers, the number 1 team in the NFL. They're healthy. They've got everything, offense, defense, and love the pass rush from Bosa and Young. Those 2 guys are just coming at you. They're going to be so tough the rest of the year. Just hopefully they stay healthy, because that's going to be a fun team to watch.
Really fun team to watch. And if I could just add about the defense, like you said, Chase Young added to the defense was amazing. And I have to give credit to Steve Wilkes as well. I mean, he got a lot of heat, both inside the organization and outside the organization, because this defense just looked lost over their 3 previous game that they had all lost in, and they allowed 26 tons of points to be scored on them. He made the adjustments. He came down. He was on the sideline, which I think is a lot of what this 49ers defense identity is. These are, we're used to Robert Saleh, where you had to hold him back, from crossing over onto the field. And then you had D'Amico Ryans, who was down there. So came on the field, made the adjustments. This defense was crazy. They generated 4 turnovers. They actually had more takeaways than the Jags were able to score points in this last game. They have 13 picks on the season, the most in the NFL. And they really tightened up their run defense as well, allowing just 3.5 yards per rushing attempt for the Jags. So really, really proud of this defense, and have to give the credit to Steve Wilkes.
Katie, Max, you're the best. Thank you so much. Will you tell everybody where they can follow you on social media and find you?
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, at Katie Mox, and on Instagram at Katie Mox Bets. And you can tune in to see me and your dad weekly on Mondays and Thursdays for primetime pregame on CBS Sports HQ. And then I'm also on Sundays on CBS Sports Network, that other pregame show from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern.
Well, we appreciate you. We'll have you back when we can fit you in with your busy schedule, but thank you so much.
Thanks, Katie. See you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Love it. A lot of
Yeah,
props
she
for
does
us.
great. Oh, she does amazing work on the props. She really does. I've been following her for 2 years now, and she is really good.
I was going to ask her first touchdown scorer, but I know that's a big thing that you guys do on yours, so I figured she'd probably have to save it for the show tomorrow.
I hit one last week.
Did you?
10-1 shot. Yeah, it was, the Vikings and Addison.
Addison,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Those are some of the toughest ones. Should we just dive right into our plays for tonight?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so we've got everything on the board: college football, college basketball, little NBA, and some hockey, of course.
Let's start with the college football. More action. And last night we had some predictable outcomes. You know, Toledo had clinched a spot in the championship game. Bowling Green was still playing for maybe a shot, and they were getting 10 covered. That game went flying over the total. Northern Illinois, very good team. They came to play yesterday, 24-0 win. These two tonight, Miami of Ohio and Ohio, are both still playing for that other slot in the conference championship game against Toledo. So it's a must-win game for both teams. I like Miami of Ohio, like the Red Hawks here. Buffalo, not the same team. Lance Leopold, who's now at Kansas, was at Buffalo. And when he was at Buffalo, I believe he went like 24-9 his last 3 years there. This team has only won like 6 games the last 2 years combined. So a different level of talent now. They haven't recruited the same type of athlete, and they're not getting coached up as well. So love Miami of Ohio. I'm not sure why the money keeps coming in on Buffalo today, but it's down to 7, and you can lay 7 with the Red Hawks.
So I like the under in this game. Tell me what you think of that. Under 41.5. Buffalo's 6 straight unders in their conference games. And Miami, Ohio, that you've been talking about, they have been holding their conference opponents to 18.5 points per game. So
That line has moved
Yes.
a lot. It's down to 38.
okay.
Yeah, there's no 41.5.
No 41.5 anymore.
I was going to say, I
Down
like your
38.
41.5.
Where can I
take
find
that.
it?
I passed on that total, but yeah, I'm glad you got a good number and went under there.
All right. So that's it for me for college football. Do you have any more?
I passed the other games. Only 2 games tonight. So the only play I made tonight was Miami of Ohio.
Very good.
Yeah.
I only have one hockey play tonight, and
Okay.
it is another under. So yesterday I said Knights and the under, but I don't know if I really.
You said the under. You said you liked the under.
I wish I would have pushed that
Yeah.
a little bit more. Knights did lose 3-0 to the Capitals. Good game though, but the under was the better play. So we're gonna try it again. The Flyers, Carolina Hurricanes under 6. Flyers are 7-7-1 this season. Carter Hart is doing very good. At goalie for them. He has a 2.52 goal against average, 91 save percentage, 2-0 to the under against division opponents. On the flip side, we don't have Anderson, so we do have the number 2 guy for the Canes, but Ranta has done fine. He's a good backup goalie, 4-2 on the season and a 3 goals against average. So he's also 2-0 to the under at home. And you know what? Carolina is just better at home as a team. They're 3-1 to the under.
That's a good team. I don't have them rated as high as most people. A lot of people have them rated the best team in the East. They're very good, but I don't know if they're the best. I agree with you on that total. I played that under as well. I went under 6 even money. Yeah.
And that's it for hockey for me. So
I don't mind.
Sorry, Brian.
I don't mind the Antti Ranta in net for Carolina. He was in net with the Blackhawks when Robin Leonard was there. So it was the two of them as a tandem, and then Ranta went to Carolina, became the starter, and now. So I do like the under, but the Hurricanes are a -240 money line. So
I think we're going to get
2
the
to 1
third.
on
We're going to get the third
Flyers.
stringer. I think Pyotr Kochetkov. See, I don't know if I can pronounce
for
that
the
right.
Canes?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep, he is 1-3 this year with a 3.0 goals against.
so maybe we
I don't have my
want-
I don't have my ratings here in front of me. I have them at home, but I think it is a little bit of a drop off to the third stringer.
Yeah, maybe we don't want to go under 6 in that one then.
Well, I already
the
did. So
Oh.
4 total games. The salami is 25.5. If you want to root for that one, not specific games.
I like that under because you can't score half goals. You can only score full goals. So these are rounded up because most people bet this over.
Right.
Just like Frank said, Chris Andrews said, hey, you can bet under.
Yep.
So these are usually rounded a little bit higher than they're supposed to. This number to me should be more like 24.5 at the most.
When I say maybe we shouldn't go under, I mean the people that are watching that are
Gotcha.
taking our advice.
Of course.
Okay. All right. So college basketball, we skipped it yesterday. I'm excited to hit it today. You have 3 games that you have already bet on.
Yeah, it's not a big schedule. I bet quite a few, more than 3 today, but 3 that I really like. I like Duquesne a lot. Laid 6. This is a good Princeton team, though. This is a Princeton team that won a couple games in the NCAA tournament last year and returned most of their starters. They're going to be outstanding once again. But Duquesne, big turnaround last year for Keith Drambot. He went from 6 wins to 20 wins, and he did it because of guard play. And he returns his best 2 guards. He went to the transfer portal, and he brought in a guy from Georgia Southern who's going to be the best player on the team by far. He brought in a pair of twins that played with St. Peter's 2 years ago that made the NCAA tournament run to the Elite 8, who played a lot of minutes there. They're both big guys, and he's just got so much talent on this Duquesne team. So I laid 5. It's up to 6 right now. I think that's the right number. Not the right number, but I would still lay 6. I made Duquesne double digits in that game. Total that I really like. Georgetown is at Rutgers. The Georgetown team got very lucky to get Ed Cooley as their basketball coach. He left Providence. He'd taken his team to the NCAA tournament 7 of 12 years. Very well respected. He just thought he needed a change in his life and wanted to make a change, and he wanted to go for a challenge. And he's taken this challenge at Georgetown, but he has no players. So it's going to be a very bad team. He's got a very complicated offensive system that's going to take a year or 2 sometimes for players to grasp, because right now they're thinking instead of just reacting. So their offense is horrible. He teaches defense. That's all about effort. They're going to play D. Rutgers, their coach has had this Rutgers defense in the top 15 3 of the last 4 years. Rutgers can play defense. So I went under 136 there. It's 133.5. I still made it even lower than that. I made it 125, and I'll be quick on the last one. Rice plays Texas. I went over that total 156. Rice loves to run. They're a very good offensive system. They play no defense. Texas is an outstanding scoring team, so that should be a fun one to watch. Should be very high scoring.
How important is it? Because when we had Vinny on, he was talking about the specific sports, NBA, NHL, college basketball. You have these sharps that have their niche, right? So you just gave 3 plays that have all moved at least a point, 2 points. So it's pretty important to get the early number in college basketball.
It's in any sport,
right?
In any
of course.
Sport. We were talking earlier about, you asked me if I played any of the NFL games early. I was betting a week in advance on the NFL games to get that best number, and I was going under in a lot of totals because that's where my numbers were pointing to me, and I was getting 2 to 3 points advantage. And you talk to people about sports betting, and this is how you win. First of all, you have a 50-50 shot. With the number that's up on the board right now, we just take tomorrow night's football game, Baltimore's -4. So you have a 50-50 shot no matter what team you play. But if you like Baltimore and you're able to lay 3.5, that extra half point is worth about 3%. So now instead of winning 50% of the time, you're now winning 53% of the time. And remember, you got to win 52.3 to break even because of the juice. So you're barely making money. If you could lay 3, now you got a 7% edge over that number. And the way to get those numbers is by betting early, and they move very quick. So you got to have your work done. You got to be ready. And I always say that, if you're going to wait to the last minute to bet, the number has been hammered out, and that is the right number. And it's a 50-50 shot, no matter what side you probably take at that point.
We still have a few more minutes. I do want to hit on a point that you just said, 3.5 right there. You told me don't pay to tie. So I actually did lay the 3.5 with the Ravens. I know you kind of adjusted, and you want to talk about that a little bit for tomorrow's game. Yeah. But first, talk about that where I asked you, can I pay for the 0.5 point and get to 3? And your advice to me was?
Never buy to a tie. If you're going to buy a 0.5 point, buy to win. That's the only thing I can say. If you're going to buy it, you're buying to win the bet. And in the NFL, really, the things have changed, though. I said for years the only number to buy on and off of was the 3, because it was a number that fell between 16 to 18% of the time. It's only fallen about 8% of the time this year.
Crazy.
The 7 has fallen more than the 3. You got the 6, the 4, the 1, and the 2. So there's so many more key numbers in the NFL now, and a lot of that had to do with the 2-point conversion when they brought it in, moving the extra point back. things have changed drastically. But again, yeah, do not buy a half a point to tie. Buy a half a point to win if you're going to. And rarely it's not worth it. It's like insurance. They don't offer it to you because they're doing you a favor. They offer you insurance on the blackjack table because they know it's the odds are in their favor. They're making a big percentage of money off every time someone takes insurance, and every time someone buys a half point at the book is making money.
Now, do you want to get into tomorrow night's game?
Yeah. Because I said yesterday I made Baltimore 10.5. You asked me what I made the game, and I looked, and I'm looking through my ratings and pulled up my sheet, and I was like, wow, it surprised me. When I got home, I looked it over on my betting sheets, and on my betting sheets, I have all my notes, and I've got home revenge. Katie mentioned that. Katie Mox, we had on earlier, that Baltimore won at Cincinnati 27-24. So that's a revenge. I call that home revenge. It's same season home revenge is worth even more for me. So it's a 2.5 point adjustment. So I adjusted the game to 8. And I'm still sitting there thinking, how do I have Baltimore 8 over Cincinnati? Let me go back and look at Cincinnati and what they've been doing. Well, they had won 3 or 4 in a row until they just lost this weekend on, a walk-off field goal. They had a good chance of continuing a winning streak. But I had dropped their rating 3 points early in the year because Joe Burrow was not healthy, and I didn't want to be betting on him. So I raised their rating up that 3 points. So now you make that adjustment. I actually had the game from 10.5 to 7.5 with the 3 point adjustment for Burrow, which should have been there weeks ago. And then you got the 2.5 for revenge. So I made Baltimore 5 in the game. I have no bet. I just pass it.
Higgins is out as well, but you said injuries on both sides. Do you agree with the under, like Katie mentioned?
Well, I'm an under player. So my number was right on, though. You get 2 really good quarterbacks. That's not a game I really want to go under in when you got 2 really good quarterbacks. But if I was to bet the game and you had said, you got to bet it, forget about your numbers, pick something out, I would go under for the trend that's been happening on these standalone games. And it's such a big game. And it's also the second game of a divisional, which they've seen each other already.
Right.
So they make adjustments. That's advantage to the defense.
One more thing before we get out of here. I want to talk about the Pac-12 news. So they were trying to keep all the teams in the Pac-12, right?
Washington State and Oregon State.
Oregon State, right. And now the judge has granted Oregon State and Washington State the rights to all the money from the championship. Is that correct?
Essentially, yes. So a judge granted Oregon State and Washington State control over the Pac-12 funds. So all other schools in the Pac-12 will still be competing as a Pac-12 school, go through their sports, whatever. But none of that money goes to those schools unless Oregon State and Washington State rule that they will share that revenue, because they don't want to share, or in theory, you don't want to share the money that's going to the conference to schools that are actively leaving the conference. So there's also a grace period for the Pac-12 since those 2 schools, the Pac-12 is sitting under the 8-team limit to be a conference. There's a 2-year grace period for them to get 6 more teams. Otherwise, the Pac-12 won't be recognized as a conference. So they need that money, that $400 million plus, to go get other schools and figure out what they're going to do as a Pac conference.
Very interesting.
You think they'll be able to find other schools who want to join the Pac-12, right?
Oh, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Mountain West schools.
I was going to say.
So the Mountain West is going to move the Pac-12.
Yeah.
They talked about an alliance, but the Mountain West wants more money than what the Pac-12 for those 2.
Well, they have it now. Now they're going to get it. Now they're going to have the money now with the judge making this decision. So maybe that deal will work out. We'll see.
Did we get our graphic for our picks? The Great White Picks? Do we want to recap really quick? You had 3 college basketball. We're kind of staying off of
NBA. The only thing I would say with NBA is pay attention to home underdogs. I mean, the Wizards are giving up 5 to the Mavericks. The Wizards are not good, so maybe don't use them as a play. But the Sixers are 5-point home dogs to the Celtics. They won that game last week. And then Toronto is now a 1.5 dog to Milwaukee with no Giannis, no Jay Crowder. And then the Trailblazers are 11-point underdogs to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have not looked good in any game this year. So do what you want with that, but I would pay attention to home underdogs.
And there's some injury information on that. When you said Dallas 5 at Washington, that looks awfully low. Kyrie Irving is questionable. To me, it looks like Kyrie Irving is out at that number. And the other one, Celtics 5.5 over Philly at Philly. Joel Embiid has a hip injury. He's questionable. To me, it looks like Embiid is out if you're going to make the Celtics that big a favorite on the road at Philadelphia. So check those injuries out and make sure you know who's playing or not. But again, the NBA is a schedule league. Check the schedule, see where they played.
Yep.
Are they rested or not? Or are they tired? Because that's this league.
Okay. Well, do you want to recap your college basketball too?
Yeah, 3 college basketball plays for you. Duquesne, the Dukes minus the 6. That's a Pittsburgh school. They're right there in Pittsburgh. And we've got
against Princeton.
Rutgers, Georgetown, under 133.5, and Rice, Texas, over 156.
If Frank was here, he would definitely say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go take that Rice, Texas over."
Yes,
he would. Ryan, any live comments that we have to get to before we get out of here?
No one was interacting today.
No one, probably because I ignored them yesterday and they thought I wouldn't look again. Well, thank you so much. For Kenny White, I'm Alex White. This is Punchlines. Remember, we're back tomorrow, same time, 12 to 1, and then we also have Sports by the Book from 3 to 4.
I just want to say a quick happy birthday to one of my best friends, Carson Matisse, 24th birthday day.
Very good. Happy birthday,
Carson.
Carson, hopefully you're watching, so you heard that. Thank you, everybody who is watching. Please like and subscribe. We are trying to get to 700 now. This is Punchlines right here live at the South Point Casino.